What's going on, everyone? It's Ben from YGO from Zero back with another Retro Yu-Gi-Oh video, and in this video I'm going to be revisiting Treasure format because if you don't know, we've got a tournament in Treasure starting this Saturday in the YGO from Zero Discord. Link it in the description down below if you want to head over and join. And I think Treasure is a format that is really cool with a lot of really underexplored strategies and different techs you can sort of do that make it very interesting. And one of the decks that is viable in Treasure that I mean, at least I think it's viable. Some people might disagree because it's a very wonky deck, but that deck is Clown Control, and Clown Control is just really sick. So basically, the idea of it is Dream Clown. You switch to defense, you pop an opponent's monster. Crass Clown, you switch from defense to attack, you return a monster to hand. And both those effects are pretty decent in this format. Also, Dream Clown can be brought out off of Giant Rat, which makes it basically a pop if your opponent attacks into a Giant Rat. Kind of like a delayed Maneater Bug, but a Maneater Bug that stays on field can potentially pop again if you have ways to protect the Dream Clown after switch to defense. So, I think this deck is really cool, and there are some reservations I have about this particular build of it. Maybe the Crash Clowns are a bit too over the top. As returning a monster hand is generally worse than just popping it. I mean, there are two Sangan and two Witch in this format, but like, I don't know, is it really worth it to just have a monster that returns a monster to hand as a delaying tactic? Who's to say? But I think this deck is still really cool. I'm actually undefeated in any of my matches with it. So I figured that I'd show off a game with this deck that I played that I wasn't playing for a video. I was just playing it for fun in the format library rated pool for this format. And I never showed it off in a video, so I figured given, we're having the Treasure Tournament coming up this Saturday, it could be cool to sort of revisit this game, pull it out from the vault, and show it off in a video. And then we can discuss my thoughts on the deck and some potential changes that I'd make to this particular build if you are considering playing Clown Control in the upcoming tournament. So I'm not really going to go through a fully in-depth card by card here, as you can see that in my previous Clown Control Treasure videos, but I will point out some interesting things. So I already mentioned Giant Rat fetching out Dream Clown. Rush Recklessly is really important in this deck. If you've got a vulnerable Clown in attack mode, Rush Recklessly can basically turn your opponent's attacking mechanical chasers into a loss for them and also allow you to hit in while preserving your Dream Clown in attack position for the next turn. So I think that that's really sick. And I think the rest of the deck is pretty self-explanatory here. So let's just dive into some games and see how it does. And again, if you want a more in-depth deck breakdown, definitely check out my previous video on it. Okay, for this match, we've got Yami Chaotico as our opponent, frequent guest of the channel. Always a pleasure to have them on. And we're just going to dive straight into the games here. So, as I said, this was a sort of raid match in Format Library, which, I brought Clown Control to that, which should show my sort of faith in this deck. I do think that it can do very well. And as I said, of all the games that I've played with this deck, I am undefeated in it, I think. If I have a previous video where I've lost with this deck, definitely let me know. Because I think that I haven't lost a match with it, but I could be wrong. Anyways, we're going to start with a Pot of Greed, summon out a Dream Clown, just hit into that set. There aren't really too many things to punish this play. I mean, Mass Sorcerer is the thing in this format, so, that could have been potentially dangerous, but we've got the Rush Recklessly in hand to clear the Mass Sorcerer if that's what it was, and any other monster we're honestly fine doing this into. It's a Mystic Tomato, so they will be able to get out another Mystic Tomato, and that is perfectly fine. We're going to go for a Comfy here, see what they're working with, and this is a pretty good hand from them. I think of these, we probably want to get rid of the Snatch Deal, because then that can give them a form of removal, and we don't have any of our MSTs to get rid of the Snatch Deal. So I think that getting rid of that would be nice. If they do want to dark hole the board with Dream Clown Tomato, that's honestly a decent trade for us. And we've already got Dream Clown committed on field, so we don't really need to worry about the trap hole. Also, Mechanical Chaser in hand dies to the Rush Recklessly, so we feel good about that as well. So we're going to take the Snatch, and then we're just going to fire a Sword, set a Rush Recklessly, and pass back to our opponent. And they're just going to set 2 and pass. We draw a Forceful Sentry, which is really nice. We're going to think about this a bit because we could potentially attack their set, and if we do that, we wouldn't be able to switch Dream Clown to defense to pop the tomato afterwards. But that could play better if their set's like a Sangan. Then we got Forceful Sentry to send back whatever they search out. So that is a potential option. Instead, we're just going to pop the tomato with the Dream Clown. And then we're just going to set this Crass Clown and pass back to them. We figure that we can flip up Crass Clown next turn, return their set to hand, and if they haven't committed another thing to board, then we can attack in for a lot of damage. Unfortunately, they do commit one more thing to board, so we won't be able to do that. We're going to send back the new one. They've got Trap Hole to pop our Crass Clown, and then we'll hit in with the Dream Clown there. Getting rid of their Sangan. They'll search out another Sangan, but we've got Forceful Sentry to send back whatever's most threatening in the hand. So they've got the Mystic Tomato, Sangan, Mechanical Chaser, and Dark Hole here. I think of these, we probably want to send back the Sangan, as we don't want them to continually search out cards here. And we've got Dream Clown to pop the Tomato if we need it. Dark Hole could potentially clear the Dream Clown, which is kind of annoying, but, you know, they'd be using a Dark Hole for a 1-for-1 trade, so I think that that ultimately will be fine. They're going to set one pass back to us. We draw Raigeki, which is pretty nice, but we're just going to use Dream Clown to pop it. It is a Witch, so kind of unfortunate they drew another Searcher, but, you know, there are a lot of Searchers in this format, so it makes sense. We're going to set a Trap Hole. They're going to bring out a Sangan. And we're going to actually think about this, and we will indeed Trap Hole the Sangan. This may seem really weird, as Trap Hole would be much better on Mechanical Chaser. But the reason we do this is we've got Rush Recklessly for Mechanical Chaser, but we can only use that if Dream Clown's an attack. So I figure it's better to Trap Hole the Sangan here, switch the Dream Clown to attack, and then use the Rush Recklessly next turn to deal with the Dream Clown. So we're going to Trap Hole that. They're going to add a Komori Dragon. Kind of interesting, but it is a good fetch off Mystic Tomato. So that makes some sense. And we draw Reborn, which is very nice here. We could get really aggressive with the Reborn, but we know about the Dark Hole in their hand, so we don't really want to do that yet. And we're just going to pass back to them. They're going to bring out Mechanical Chaser. That's fine by us. They're going to attack in to the Dream Clown, and then in damage step, we are going to fire this Rush Recklessly. So the Dream Clown will survive. The Mechanical Chaser will fall. And we draw a Trap Hole, which is just great. This Dream Clown has put in a lot of work over the course of this game. We're going to set the Trap Hole, pass back to them, and see what they do. They're going to bring out Mystic Tomato. We're just going to Trap Hole that. They're going to set one, pass back to us. This has been an incredible game for Dream Clown. And this is why I think that this deck does have some legs, because, you know, you can preserve a Dream Clown for a really long time, and that Dream Clown can get you a lot of value. And we've seen that happen in this game here. And also, we haven't really drawn many monsters, so we haven't really been able to push the aggressive, but I mean, that Dream Clown's been putting in a lot of work here. We do draw the Sangan, so we're just going to bring that attack in with everything. This does play into Dark Hole a little bit, but, you know, the Dream Clown's not long for this world anyways, given our hand. And if they Dark Hole, then we get a search off Sangan. So I feel pretty good about that. They're going to go for Pot of Greed here, drawing 2. And they're going to bring out a Mechanical Chaser. That's fine by us. They are going to attack into the Dream Clown. We unfortunately do not have a Rush Recklessly for this. And they're going to pass back to us. We draw a Crass Clown, which is pretty nice. We're going to Snatch Steal that Mechanical Chaser, just hit in for everything here. They've got Mirror Force, so that will clear the Mechanical Chaser and Sangan, but we get to get a search here. We're going to search out the Witch, and we're actually going to set this Crass Clown, trying to sort of mind game our opponent. We do know about the Dark Hole that they've got in hand, but, you know, if they see us search out a Witch, they're not going to think the set is a Witch. Or they're not going to think it's a Crass Clown. They're going to think it's a Witch. They're not going to fire a Dark Hole here. They're going to set one, and this is perfect. We bring out the Witch. We're going to flip up the Crass Clown, return that set to hand. We're going to Reborn a Sangan here and just try and get in for lethal damage. If they don't have Waboku, this is the end of the game. Unfortunately, they do have Waboku, but this is still fine, because even if they Dark Hole, which we do know they have the Dark Hole, and this is a prime board to do it on, we do get 2 searches off the Sangan and the Witch. So I think this is ultimately fine. They are going to Dark Hole that board indeed. We're going to think about exactly what to get here. We're just going to grab another Witch and another Sangan, just to keep the replacements going. They're going to go for a Comfy here. They're going to send the Raigeki from hand to grave. I still feel pretty good with a Dark Hole on field, which is kind of unfortunate, but they're going to hit in for 11 there. We draw Waboku, which is pretty nice. And we're going to think about this a bit, and we're just going to summon the Witch, set a Waboku, pass back to them. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think I could have just set the Witch, but I think I want to do this in case they have like a Tomato or something. Or we do know about the Komori Dragon, so I guess if the Komori Dragon gets summoned, attacks in the Witch, we can Rush Recklessly and preserve the Witch on field. So I guess that's why we might do this, but I'm not really sure that's necessary. They've got Heavy, we've got the Waboku to chain to it. I should have also chained the Rush Recklessly to it, because what they could have done here is potentially crash the Witch into our Witch, get a search, and then commit something else to field. Our Witch would still survive, but it might just be worth it for them to get that search. Rush Recklessly would have caused them to take 700 if they did choose to do that. So I think I should have done that, but, you live and learn. We're going to set the Sangan, fire a Delinquent Duo here, just trying to snipe some good stuff out of their hand. And we hit a Lord of D. Okay, so this reveals that they're on a little bit of spice. And they also pitch a Flute Summoning Dragon. So they're on a spicy dragon deck, it looks like, which is pretty cool to see. Now, another thing we could have done here instead is we could have just Dark Hold and cleared our Witch, gotten like a Mechanical Chaser or something. I don't think I'm playing Mechanical Chaser in the main, but we could have gotten another monster hit in for a lot of damage here. That might have been worth it, but I think it's ultimately fine to do it the way we did it. We're going to search out a Giant Rat and a Mystic Tomato. So now we have some pretty good offensive pressure here. They're going to hit in with the Witch for 11 and then pass back to us. We draw Mystical Space Typhoon, which is pretty decent. We're just going to summon out this Rat, hit in for 300 there, and they're going to grab a Mechanical Chaser. That's fine. We've got this Dark Hole in hand, and we can also just search out a Clown off the Rat. Unfortunately, Duo will rip that Dark Hole out of our hand, which is quite unfortunate here. They're going to bring out a Mechanical Chaser, hit in for 450, and we're going to bring out a Dream Clown. Now, if we drop pretty much any monster from our deck, we do just win the game here because we can pop the Mechanical Chaser, get in for some damage. Unfortunately, we draw an MST. We're going to switch the Dream Clown defense, pop that Mechanical Chaser, pass back to our opponent. They've got Fissure, they've got Komori Dragon, and they're going to get in for 1500. Unfortunately, this does put us on a bit of a clock. This is kind of rough. We draw Woboku, which will protect us for one turn. But it's still kind of rough. We need a way to clear the Komori Dragon, get in for some damage here. They're going to commit another monster to board. We're going to fire Sword. They've got Magician of Faith. They'll be able to get back from grave, Heavy Storm, and that will indeed be just the end of the game, as they can just Heavy Storm our board and get in for lethal damage. So really unfortunate way that the game ended. I really did think that in the beginning, it was really, really promising. We had such control over the game, and we just didn't draw enough monsters to actually get aggressive. That's something to potentially change in this deck if you're planning on bringing it to the tournament. Maybe you want to add in things like Mechanical Chaser, or just more aggressive pressure once you've got your Dream Clown and Crash Clown setup going. But that can happen. And yeah, it was a pretty good game there, though, either way. So let's go into game 2 here, and let's see if this will be the first match that I actually lose with Clown Control on the channel. Again, if I've lost a game with Clown Control in the past and I'm just lying, let me know. But I'm pretty sure I've gone undefeated with this deck. They're going to bring out a Mystic Tomato. We're going to fire this Trap Hole, and they're going to pass back to us. We will bring out this Giant Rat, flip up this Sangan, attack in for 2400 here, and that will indeed all go through. We're going to set this Woboku, pass back to them. And, Woboku probably won't come up anytime soon, but if they've got Spell and Trap removal, this is probably the best thing we can set. They're going to bring out a Komori Dragon, which has a pretty good stat line for this format. They're going to hit into the Sangan here. We're going to search out a Witch of the Black Forest, keep that Recruiter train going. They're going to fire a Duo here, quite unfortunate. At least they're going down 1,000 life points. They are going to roll a die to try and determine it, and they're going to hit a Woboku. We're going to pitch an MST, as we don't really feel like that's the most powerful card in our hand. We draw another Giant Rat. We're just going to switch our Rat to defense, pass back to them. Don't really need to commit more to board here. We do have the Woboku as insurance. They're just going to pass back to us. We're going to fire a Pot of Greed here, and we draw Rush Recklessly, which will allow us to get over that Komori Dragon. We're going to summon out this Witch, switch the Rat to attack in to the Komori Dragon. In damage, we're going to fire this Rush Recklessly. They're going to take 600. We're going to attack in with the Witch for 1100, and we'll pass back to them. They're just going to pass back to us. They might be bricking on a bunch of dragon stuff here. But if they don't Woboku this will be the end of the game as we get the rush in hand. Unfortunately, they do have Woboku. We're going to switch this Rat to defense, pass back to them. Let's see if they actually are bricking on. Okay, they're not actually bricking on much dragon stuff. They bricked on the Blue Eyes, but the other stuff in hand were potentially live things. It's just triple Woboku. Gotta hurt. We're just going to switch that Rat to attack, try and get in for another lethal damage. They're just going to go for the Woboku. We're just going to switch this Witch to defense. We're going to set Trap Hole, pass back to them. They're going to set another pass back to us. We're going to just try and do the same thing again. They've got Woboku yet again, and we're just going to switch this Rat to defense. So that was a fun little sequence of turns there, but kind of unfortunate for them. They've got Raigeki. They will be able to clear our board here, but we get a search off the Witch. I'm feeling pretty good about this. They're going to pass back to us, and we're going to bring out a Witch here, attack in for 1100, and that will go through. They're going to pass back to us. They're going to set one, pass back to us. We draw a Dream Clown, which is pretty nice. We're just going to bring out that Dream Clown. We've got a Woboku on field, preserve it. We're going to hit into the set with the Dream Clown. They add back Raigeki, quite unfortunate with that Faith. and we're going to hit in for 1100. But in damage step, we actually can win the game here with this Rush Recklessly. So quite unfortunate for them. They had the Flute and Blue Eyes in hand, so they did brick on that. But I don't think that this win was just because of those two bricks. I think that they bricked on a lot of other stuff as well. So I still think that this does show the power of Rush Recklessly in a deck, and shows one of the strengths that Clown Control does have with playing that card at 3 in the main deck. So we're going to go in to game 3 here. And I think I didn't side out anything in this match. I didn't actually record. I think I sided in Mechanical Chasers because I noticed in game 1 I didn't have the aggressive pressure. But I think overall I largely just kept the deck the same because I figured against dragons we were pretty fine as is, because that deck can brick a lot. But maybe I should have potentially prepared some more dragon tech. Maybe a dragon capture jar on the side. Who knows? We're going to hit into the Sangan with the Witch, and they search out a Lord of the D. That's very threatening for us. We're going to set this trap hole, pass back to them, hope that we can, trap hole to shut off any flute plays, but it looks like they're just going to set one pass back to us, so I feel pretty good about that. Maybe it's not as threatening as I thought. We're going to bring out a Mechanical Chaser here and just try and get aggressive. We attack in with the Witch. Bit of a greedy play on our part, so we don't actually manage to get in for more damage. I think I probably should have just attacked in with Mechanical Chaser. That was a big mistake on my part, but I think I was thinking if it was like Tomato that they had set, then attacking with the Witch would basically prevent them from searching out another Tomato from deck, but I think I misplayed that a bit. So they're going to bring out a Tomato now. We're going to trap hole that, and they're going to go for Dark Hole, clearing our Witch and our Mechanical Chaser. That's perfectly fine by us. We can search out a Sangan there, which we can commit to board. We'll attack in with the Sangan here for 1,000. And main two, we're just going to set this Swords. The Swords will die to MST anyways, or Heavy Storm if they've got it. I feel like it's good to have a bluff on field. They're going to bring out a Witch here, which will be able to clear our Sangan. But that's fine. We get another search off this. So we're going to search out another Witch. They are going to set one pass back to us, and we draw Forceful, which is really nice after hitting in to a Witch. Unfortunately, they will be able to clear the rat there. So we do just go for a Forceful play here because we want to know whether we have to fire that Swords or, if they've got the combo online. So we see that they've got a Lord of D, Snatch Steal, Mechanical Chaser, and a Flute. So they've got two parts of the combo in hand. Honestly, I'm not the most concerned about the combo. I think I might be more concerned about the Snatch Steal and the Mechanical Chaser. So what we're going to send back is actually the Snatches. If we do manage to commit, like our Dreamcom play to field, we want that gone. So they do have the Flute and Lord play in hand, which can be kind of scary for us, but I don't think they can kill us with that. Let's see. They drew Blue Eyes, and that would be 23, 53, so yeah, not quite lethal. They're going to bring out a Mechanical Chaser, and we're going to take a fair amount of damage here. So we'll take 2950, dropping this down decently low. And then they're going to pass back to us. We draw Waboku, which is perfect here because we really need that in case they do manage to actually get their Lord of Deep play online. They're going to search out Kimura to give them another body in case they draw a bigger monster as well. And we're going to hit in for 11 with the Witch. Main two, we're just going to fire the Swords, set a Waboku, pass back to them. And they're just going to pass back to us. We draw another Waboku, which is really, really nice. We're just going to hit in for another 11. And then we're just going to pass back to them. They could potentially set a Komori Dragon if they wanted to, but I think they want to preserve it for when they go for the Dragon push. Oh, and we draw a Dream Clown. Perfect. We're just going to get in for 23 here. They have used up a Dark Hole, so all we've got to worry about in this state is kind of Raigeki. They're going to think about that, and they're just going to pass back to us. Or we're going to pass back to them. They do unfortunately have the Raigeki, but we can get a search of a Mechanical Chaser here to get even more aggressive later. They're going to go for Comfy, though, which will be able to clear out cards from hand. They're going to send the Waboku to prevent us from really getting that defensive pressure on field. But luckily, we've got another Waboku set. We're going to think about this, and we're just going to try and go for lethal here, snatching their Mechanical Chaser, hitting in for 1850. They do have Waboku for that, unfortunately. We're going to set this Crass Clown, as we do know that they don't have a Raigeki or Dark Hole anymore, so I feel fine committing that to board. They are going to gain 1,000 here, but if we can pull off a Crass play, then we just win. They're just going to pass back. Oh, okay. They misclicked. That's fine. They can just do anything else that they want to. They're just going to set a Magician of Faith, pass back to us, but luckily, since we've got the Crass on field, that will be the end of the game. Bouncing that back to hand and getting in for lethal damage. So now I think that this game's, it's up against a bit of a jank deck in Dragons. But I do think that these games do show how powerful Clown Control can be. Even game one, which we lost, I think that we had control of the board for a large portion of it. And so I do feel like we could have definitely won that game if we had more aggressive pressure to marshal against our opponent. Unfortunately, we just did not draw many monsters there. But I mean, that's how these games go sometimes, and occasionally you can just break on powerful spells, or just break on things like MST, which I do still think are necessary to run in this format, given the existence of things like Snatch Steal, and just some very powerful back row. But I think that going forward with this deck in the future, if you are changing it, if you are potentially bringing it to the next treasure tournament starting this Saturday, I think some things that you can do is bring in the Mechanical Chasers into your main deck, because Mechanical Chaser is great aggressive pressure, and having the option to search this off Witch can be very nice, and very nice at like just clearing away some threats that your opponent might have on field. So that can be good. Maybe cutting down a little bit on the MSTs, as in future formats, there's a lot of things that you want MST for. In this format, not really as many. Snap Steal, of course, Premature Burial maybe, but besides those, not really much. So I think you can maybe cut down on the MSTs in favor of things like Heavy Storm. Although it is nice to potentially snipe things like Puboku that your opponent might set, but I think that that's a marginal sort of advantage, and maybe that's a good thing to cut in the future. So that would largely be what I'd change about this deck. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of different ways you can go with this, and I encourage people to actually bring this to the next tournament, as I do think that it's a very slept on deck in this very underexplored format, and I do think that it can potentially see some tournament success. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of retro Yu-Gi-Oh videos that come out pretty much every week, and there's a lot more fun stuff coming, more Yada videos coming, also an 850 subscribers special, which, you know, if you're not already subscribed, definitely do so, because we're fast on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and it'd be great if you could help us do that. But I hope that you enjoyed this video as always, and until next time, I've been Ben from YGR from Zero, and I'm signing off.